Hi everybody, my name is Max Maker and this is episode 3 of my dream workshop build. In the last episode we concreted in the back half of the foundation and now we could remove the forms and set them up again for the other half. And on this half we need to install a cable entry point. So this is a point where all the cables and the water go into the building from the outside, and I'm using this kit from the company Kraso. And this is a very convenient product, very easy to set up. It even includes the stand to adjust the height. You don't need any tools to set this up, and the pipes are even plug and play, so you just click them in. The only attention you have to pay is that you get this in the right place and the right height. And then you end up with these super nice pipes that go to the outside of the foundation, and then later the service provider can come in and just push the cables through and the water pipes and also the internet. We are not going to use gas for this, but this has 4 entry points and 1 is a spare for later on. Right now this is still proud above the concrete, but we will add some more concrete for the slab later on, and these rubber bellows will provide water and gas proofing. And I really like that the manufacturer made these red, so they are easy to find if you look for them underground. The rest of the footings have been poured and the concrete people are removing the forms, so now it's time for me to backfill everything. On the inside and on the outside we have a big trench and we need to fill this in, and we need to do it in very thin layers of about 15 centimeters and to compact it while we're doing it. On the outside it doesn't matter too much because that can just settle naturally, but on the inside the whole building will rest on the sand, so it needs to be perfectly compacted. So I rented some new equipment and this time I made sure to get a bigger excavator. And this thing is really nice. It's brand new, I'm the first person to use it. The rubber tracks still had some stickers on them. And this is a great machine. It has about twice the weight as the excavator we used in the previous video. And that makes it very stable, not as shaky and very powerful. You always have 2 sticks. The left stick controls the lower section of the arm, and if you tilt it left and right you spin the whole cabin. And the right stick controls the other section of the arm, and if you tilt that one left and right, you curl the bucket up and down. So you always have to do combination moves with both sticks to control the bucket. I started filling in the outside of the foundation because I needed some bridge to get inside of the foundation without destroying the relatively fresh concrete. And filling in the outside was very quick, and then I discovered I can just push some dirt along with the shield. That wasn't possible with the other excavator because it didn't have enough force. We also used the loader to fill in some sections, and then we had to rake everything smooth so the plate compactor could drive over this. Because the plate compactor is not great at going up inclines, so you need to level everything very nicely and then the plate compactor can do its job. The first pass is always the hardest because you really have to fight the compactor because it loves to slide down any incline. But after that it's easy going, and we always did about 3 to 4 passes to make sure that everything is perfectly compacted. I added this little extension to this control. This controls the forward and backward motion because before we always had to bend over to reach it, and now it's at a much more ergonomic height. We worked the compactor for about 6 hours on both days of the weekend to really make sure everything is nicely compacted. And we're also getting a geotechnical engineer to come out here and do some tests and check if the compaction level is good enough or not. And we very quickly noticed how labor intensive the raking was, so we tried to put more effort into finally dispersing all of the sand. So I also used the excavator to just finely sprinkle some more layers of sand on there and to try to keep it as even as possible so we don't have to do as much raking. The weather was holding up nice. It was sunny at times, but there was a very cold wind. So we took some shelter for a break in a shipping container, and I'm so glad that I bought this. Not just for storage, but also just to have a place to hang out while you do a break. And after that, we continued for the rest of the day. Backfilling is definitely one of those tasks that you can easily do yourself. You don't need to have a lot of knowledge or experience for that. You just have to put some effort into it and you see the results of your work straight away. And I think that's a great motivating factor when you can see some progress. And after some time, the level of the sand rose high enough that I could just drive over it with the excavator and pull it smooth by going backwards. That meant we had to do less raking, and that was really nice because towards the end of the day we were really exhausted. So we called it a day, locked up the machines and went home for the night, just to return in the morning to do some more raking. But since everything was nice and level now, it was much easier. So we compacted everything one last time, and that resulted in a very smooth surface, except for that hole in the middle, and that's going to be for our hydraulic lift. I bought a scissor lift, and that's going to be recessed into the concrete slab, so when it's lowered down you can just walk over it. The compactor has been running for 3 days now, that's why we have these 3 tick marks because we want to keep track on how much we used it. And now I want to exchange the oil because when these engines been running for a few days, it's a good idea to give it some fresh oil. I knew how much oil I filled in when I got the machine, so I used these bottles to keep track on how much oil is coming out, and it doesn't look like we lost any oil. I mean, check this out. That doesn't look great, right? It's brown. It's not black, but it's brown. The only reason why I choose this brand all the time is because they have this convenient nozzle and it's easy to fill it into machines. We're going to use this machine a few more times before the building is completed, so I think it's a good idea to keep up on the maintenance. The next task was to add all of the sewage pipes underneath the concrete slab. So we dug some channels for that, and we already left these tunnels behind inside of the foundation, so we could easily push some pipes through there. And here in Germany, all of the pipes are just push fit together, and a little rubber gasket makes them waterproof. So you don't need any of the glues like you do in America. We're getting some sinks here, some toilets and some showers, and assembling the stuff is really like playing with Lego. And we made sure to add these wall collars to each of the pipes. These are also from the company Kraso, and they ensure a waterproof seal between these collars and the pipe and between the collars and the concrete. So the concrete is going to form around these collars, and that way you can't have any water coming up through the slab and inside of your building. So these are really easy to add and a very good insurance to make sure you don't get any water problems later on. And speaking about water problems, we need to get rid of our rainwater once the building is up. Since I still had the rental excavators around, I decided to already dig the giant hole for our rainwater retention system. Because here in Germany, as you probably know, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that we need to dispose all of our water on our own properties. And in summer, we often get rainstorms, and you can get something like 20 liters in a few minutes per square meter. So that means on this roof with 700 square meters, 14,000 liters coming down maybe in 15 or 20 minutes. So we need to have a buffer for that. And that's the thing that I'm digging right now. In the past, you could fill it up just with gravel or something like that, but that's very expensive and really a waste of gravel. Because when you look at the gravel, you're only interested in the cavities between the stones, and that's just about 35% of the total volume. But luckily, I found a cool alternative, and that's these DrainMax drain tunnels. They're by a company called Intewa, and the cool thing is they're made out of plastic, they're lightweight, and they can be stacked on top of each other. So transport costs are really low because you get so many of them on just one pallet. And they just get buried underneath the ground, and they form a cavity to act as a buffer. So they can take up huge amounts of water, and since they're shaped like a tunnel, you can just add more and more modules and expand your system to your desired volume. And they slowly release the water back into the wild. It's raining and the sun is shining. Beautiful. This hole is so big. I imagine this thing would be much smaller. It's 5 meters down there and I need 8 meters in this direction, at least. And at this point I was so glad that I had a bigger excavator, because with its longer reach it was easier to get just rid of the volume of dirt, because I had to remove so much dirt that I had to find a way to not get it into my way, because I still needed to back out of this position and the hole was still not done yet. So I shoveled everything to the side to try to get it as far away from me as possible, and I also used the loader to remove some of the material so I could keep on digging. And after a while, I went down inside of it, built a little ramp, and then I could flatten the ground as well as possible. But as you see here, when I turn around, it really roughens up the surface. So I had to do a lot of cleanup, but ultimately I got it done. And to get out of this hole, I used a shield at the back to stop me from rolling down again. And I used the boom to pull me up, because the tracks didn't have enough traction to pull me up this steep incline. And this is really nerve-wracking when you're inside, but I know from the outside it doesn't look as extreme as it feels when you're in the inside and you look up at the sky because you're tilted that far backwards. But over the last few months I used the excavator so much that I got much better at it, much more confident, and I think I know where the limits are. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for all your nice comments from the last video, wishing me luck in this project. I think we're building something really nice here, and your comments and suggestions and tips and tricks, they really help me out in this build. And of course, it's also a motivation to know that you guys are watching this to keep going with these videos. So thank you for that. It's a beautiful evening right now. No wind, the birds are chirping, and I'm leveling this area. Very fun, very satisfying, because with one of these you can really easily get this very flat. So that's it for this week. Please like and leave a comment and tell me what you think about this project. In the next video, we are going to cover the insulation, the waterproofing, the radiant tubing, and the concrete slab. So it's going to be quite a long video. So stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for watching. My name is Max Maker and I make all kinds of stuff.